Well, very briefly about my background. I am a computer scientist and I have a doctorate in information technology, but I'm also a lawyer. I have practiced law in a Finnish law firm, and that's why I am also saying something about the legal side of open source technology transfer. I am here to present mostly OtaSizzle project. It is a Finnish research project about social media, and we have developed a platform on top of which we can build social media services, and then we have also created some sample social media services, and we are distributing them in open source version. So OtaSizzle is about research. It is first of all a research project about social media, and we are working mostly in campus environment. We have created an innovation ecology, meaning that we are enabling end users and outsiders to develop new services and distribute them with our tools. And then we have also replicated our system to California, University of California, Berkeley is helping us, and then to Africa, University of Nairobi is working with us, and Beijing University of Posts and Telecommunications is our partner. So we are in 4 continents. And we are studying social media services and service innovations, meaning how people develop their own services as we enable them to do it. As social media is very much about personal data and personal issues, this has given us a great opportunity to study also privacy and publicity, how people manage their publicity by keeping something private. And then we have studied also the technologies and their scalability, and how to develop a platform to support this all. So our platform is mostly a server that manages information about users and their social networks, and then developers are able to create smaller or even larger social media services on top of that platform. And campus has been a very good place to start because there are communities already existing, and also students and faculty members are willing to try new things and develop own services, and also it has been easy to spread this thing to other campuses around the world. Then we have also developed some sample services to give examples what kind of things can be done on top of our platform. And one of the most successful services have been Kassi, but Juha will be presenting Kassi service next, so I'm not going into details there. Now, we have been going abroad, as I mentioned. We are now in California and Kenya and China, and then we are working closely with HIIT ICT labs, so we are also trying to get our software running in other European countries, and then Juha's colleague is going to Chile to establish there, and so on. Our project has been going on already 4 years, and we still have 1 year to go, but we are not going to stop there, but we are currently launching what we call Sizzle Virtual Center of Excellence, which is actually a framework for future collaboration, especially between these 4 universities, but what's missing here is EIT ICT labs that is also a partner in this virtual center of excellence, and thus all of you might also be part of our center of excellence. And we've been doing user studies in all these sites, and in Nairobi we have organized code camps enabling students to develop their own services, and for instance in Beijing they are focusing on sensors and Internet of Things issues, and they have also translated or localized the CASI service into Chinese. I'm not quite sure whether it is actually matching, but they told us that it's the same service in China. So about the legal side, or our experiences in OtaSizzle project, and also my own experiences earlier. It is a common misconception that open source means that there is no copyright. But that's not actually true. Open source is very much based on strong copyright, and then giving quite liberal licenses to copyrighted programs. Copyright in general is a legal tool to protect anything creative. If you create anything original, it is automatically protected by copyright. And as you know, in Europe, it is still the main legal tool to protect software, although patents are becoming more and more important. But we should notice that copyright does not protect facts, like scientific facts or scientific results as such. Meaning that, for instance, if a researcher finds out something important, the fact is not copyrightable, but the way how he or she writes an article about the findings. The article, the text can be copyrighted, but not the facts themselves. Also ideas, algorithms, and such are not copyrighted, but how they are expressed, that is copyrighted. It is possible to transfer copyrighted technology with open source licenses, and that's the main issue in open source. Then patents, on the other hand, are also very important. Any invention that is new and includes an inventive step, meaning it is somehow surprising, and the invention must be also useful in commercial purposes, then it can be patented. But patents are not granted automatically like copyright, so it needs to be, patent needs to be applied, and it takes time, and it's difficult and expensive. So, for instance, universities or research institutes don't like to patent that much. Commercial companies are more active in patenting. It surely needs careful consideration whether to patent a research result, for instance. Although it is quite often possible if wanted. But the problem in relation to open source models with patents is that, for instance, a software may include something that somebody else has already patented earlier. And if somebody has a patent, then he or she may prevent us from using our own software based on the patent. So patents are not very useful for us to transfer technology, but they can be quite dangerous, so we need to consider them carefully. In my experience, copyright and patents are not that difficult to manage, or even though they are in general quite complex legal area. For instance, copyright law is terribly complex and difficult, but in open source world it is not a very difficult issue, and you can manage copyright and even patents quite easily if you release your software in open source. However, user information can be much more difficult area. In truly open source fashion, you should also release data openly. And if you are doing something similar, like we have done user studies and social media services, you are gathering lots of information that includes also personal data and personal information about individuals. And that is strongly protected by privacy and data protection laws, especially in Europe. And it cannot be transferred to others without consent of all those individuals. So it can be very difficult to manage situations where you have collected databases of personal data, and then you need to transfer this database to commercial companies, for instance, for their purposes. It's much easier to transfer software than those data. Okay, so there is no open source licensing models for user information. Okay, so to conclude, for research results, IPR protection like patents and copyright are important, at least sometimes. Quite often open source is a very good solution. It matches well with the general paradigm of scientific work. Researchers are willing to publish their results and spread information, and distributing software in open source fashion is very well in line with that. Sometimes commercial companies are hesitating. They would like to have proprietary rights, but it is also quite possible to do business in open source world, as you will soon tell us. So, in my opinion, based on my own experience and also OtaSizzle experience, IPR is not the most difficult legal area, but privacy and data protection is, because there is no such thing as open source personal data.